Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. This is just a post-fight vid. It's gonna do all the significant fights from yesterday. I'm not just gonna make one video. Don't really feel like making any different videos. So, all right, a lot of boxing on last night. Even Chavez Jr. was in action last night against Anderson Silva. Didn't pay much attention for that fight, but I did pay attention to the middleweight division, especially Munguia and Charlo, who were in action to display who was really the class of the 160-pound division. And Charlo was in a much tougher than expected fight. I was expecting him to dispatch a Montiel within the first 6. That didn't happen. Montiel really impressed me. He showed a lot of toughness, a lot of determination, and he had Charlo in trouble in there, man. Just a few more punches could have produced a knockdown. I mean, Charlo was feeling the power, he was feeling the pressure, and he was feeling the fatigue in the second half of that fight. I thought Montiel closed the fight very strong, won at least 3 or 4 rounds in the fight. Did lose, gave up a big lead, got beat up the first half, but he was beating up Charlo the second half. Never seen Charlo get damaged like that in a fight where he was significantly weakening as the rounds wore on, and he was definitely being affected by those shots. I mean, he was in a fight, man. Munguia was the most impressive, I would say, at least in the middleweight division. He dispatched of Scrimetta in a very one-sided fashion, as expected. He even did a one-up on Golovkin, got him out of there in a quicker fashion. Damn, does not even promote De La Hoya fighters. Shit. There you go. Munguia looked very good, man. He's steadily improving. They're taking their time. I mean, he can fight for a world title anytime he wants. Now, especially after what Charlo produced in his last fight, you know, maybe De La Hoya and the Golden Boy Brass are gonna start seeing, like, they're definitely seeing some chinks in the armor for Charlo's last performance. And considering what Munguia's been doing, he's been steadily improving, looking good every fight, stopping guys, really getting more experience in the middleweight division. There's really no rush. You know, the dude, he's a good fighter. He can challenge for any world title at any moment if he wants. But you know, they're taking their time. They're looking for the right opportunity. They wanted the Golovkin fight, obviously, but Golovkin doesn't want to fight Munguia. He knows what will happen. He knows this guy's too young, too fresh for him at this stage. You know, the punch variety, the arsenal, the improved boxing skills, the leading behind the jab. Really like what I'm seeing from Munguia, and I would love to see a potential Munguia Charlo fight for a mandatory title fight. That is possible. All Golden Boy has to do is push for it. Munguia's team has to push for it to enforce the mandatory position. Obviously, Andrade is the more tougher fight for Munguia. I think, you know, stylistically, it's a tough fight for Munguia, but it's not a fight that's impossible for him to win. He's younger, fresher, very strong, but Andrade is still operating at a high level. It's a very tricky fight, and if I had my choice, I want Munguia to fight Charlo, especially after what I just saw against Montiel, where Charlo really went life. He struggled, man. He struggled, and he got hurt pretty bad in that fight. So I think it's a very winnable fight for Munguia going forward. Obviously, Gabe Rosado is a perfect test for Munguia prior to challenge for a world title. Rosado is the gatekeeper, very experienced, coming off a big win himself, an upset victory over Beck the Bully. Beck the Bully got exposed, doesn't have much of a chin, got knocked out by a non-punching gatekeeper, but a respectable gatekeeper who is still capable of putting in a good performance, still giving guys trouble with his experience and his Philly style and his toughness. That's the perfect fight for Munguia to get that type of fight under his belt, a Rosado type fighter, just prior to challenge for a world title. It's a perfect setup opponent prior to a world title fight. And Rosado will be drained at 160. So it's a perfect fight for Munguia. Look for that fight to happen next, and then Munguia possibly challenge for a world title in 2022. And I think Charlo is the preferred target for Golden Boy because Golovkin doesn't want to fight, and Andrade is a very tricky style for Munguia to deal with. So look for Rosado Munguia later this year. Perfect setup fight prior to the world title fight for Jaime Munguia. Another good win for him. Now, let's talk about who else was in action. Inoue. I mean, Inoue did what he was supposed to do. Fought an overmatched IBF mandatory opponent, very weak opponent. The thing with Inoue is that Top Rank has nothing for him. I don't get the plan here. Where is the marquee fight going to come from on the Top Rank side? Kazmaros with PBC. He's now going to unify with Donaire. Is that fight even feasible? Is it even possible? Now that Donaire is fighting on that side, Kazmaro, they were scheduled to fight prior, but I don't know if that fight's even possible now with PBC involved. It would be for the Undisputed Showdown at 118, the winner of that fight, so I don't see why that can't be next. But in the meantime, I don't know what's really next for Inoue. I mean, he's knocking out overmatched opponents, getting a lot of praise doing so, being rated as high as number 3 in the pound-for-pound list. But the resume is lacking. The marquee fights are not there right now or even in sight for Inoue, since Top Rank really has nothing for him. The 15-pounders, he's been avoiding them for whatever reason. They're all fighting the zone now, and that's where the money's at. Inoue, he chooses to fight weak bantamweights in a weak bantamweight division. Why do you think Donito Donaire is finding new life in the bantamweight division? Because it's a weak division where he has physical advantages. He's able to take advantage of a very small Nordine Obali with his physicality and experience at 118. I mean, Donaire not too long ago was a spent bullet at 122, 126. Couldn't hang in those divisions, so now he's finding new life in a weak bantamweight division. But Kazmaro Donaire is a good fight. Hopefully, Inoue will fight the winner for a significant fight under his belt instead of these weak mandatories. We'll see what's next for Inoue going forward. Who else fought last night? Was that everybody? Yeah, that was pretty much everybody. Munguia looked good. Charlo didn't look like the best middleweight in the world. I see it as a very winnable fight for Munguia going forward. Rosado with the big upset victory. Congratulations if you actually bet the knockout on that one, or just even bet Rosado money line, just straight up. Inoue still knocking out no hopers at 118. Hopefully, bigger names, bigger fish to fry in the future. Montiel, props to him for the show he put on, man. The toughness he showed, and really giving Charlo a scare there and his fans a scare there in those middle rounds and late rounds of that fight. Very good fight. And we'll see what's next for all three guys, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about the fights last night. Your thoughts. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.